Was John Brown a hero or a madman? This question has echoed through American history for more than a century, sparking fierce debate and passionate arguments. His name is forever linked to the fight against slavery, but his methods and motivations remain controversial even today. To answer that, let's go back in time, back to an era when the nation was bitterly divided, and the question of slavery threatened to tear the country apart. John Brown was an abolitionist, someone who wanted to end slavery at any cost. He was not content to simply speak out or write pamphlets. He believed in taking direct action. Born in Connecticut in 1800, he grew up in a deeply religious family that taught him to hate slavery with a passion. From a young age, Brown was taught that all people deserved freedom and dignity. Unlike most abolitionists who used words, Brown believed only action, violent action if necessary, could end slavery. He was willing to risk everything, including his own life, to fight for what he believed was right. He saw the suffering of enslaved people firsthand and felt a deep, personal calling to fight for their freedom. For Brown, the injustice of slavery was intolerable, and he could not stand by while others suffered. Brown's beliefs led him to Bleeding, Kansas, a violent battleground where he and his sons fought fiercely against pro-slavery forces. The conflict there was brutal, and Brown's actions would soon make headlines across the nation. His actions there made him both famous and controversial. Some saw him as a courageous freedom fighter, while others called him a dangerous fanatic. In Kansas, Brown's reputation as a relentless warrior for abolition was forged. He became a symbol of resistance, inspiring both admiration and fear. This experience convinced him that only a dramatic act could shake the nation awake. Brown began to plan something even bigger, an event that would change the course of American history forever. John Brown, a fervent abolitionist, devised a bold and daring plan. He would seize the federal armory at Harpers Ferry, Virginia, a place that symbolized the power of the federal government and the institution of slavery in the South. His goal was to ignite a massive slave uprising, believing that enslaved people across the region would rise up and join his cause, turning a single act of rebellion into a sweeping revolution for freedom. On the night of October 16, 1859, Brown and a small band of 21 men, both black and white, including several of his own sons, quietly crossed the Potomac River and launched their audacious raid. At first, they succeeded in capturing the armory and taking several hostages, anxiously waiting for word to spread and for enslaved people to rally to their side. But the hoped-for uprising never materialized. Instead, local townspeople and militia quickly mobilized, surrounding the armory and trapping Brown's group inside the engine house, cutting off any chance of escape. After a tense and desperate standoff that lasted through the night and into the next day, U.S. Marines led by Colonel Robert E. Lee stormed the building, ending the siege in a matter of minutes. Most of Brown's men were either killed or captured in the chaos. 2 of his sons lost their lives during the fighting, and the dream of immediate liberation was shattered. Brown himself, badly wounded, was taken prisoner and quickly became a symbol, either of fanaticism or martyrdom, depending on whom you asked. The raid failed in its immediate objectives, but its shockwaves reverberated across the nation, sparking fierce debates and deepening the divide between North and South. Brown's dream of a revolution had ended in bloodshed, but the nation could not look away. The events at Harpers Ferry would echo in the coming years, pushing America ever closer to civil war. News of the raid stunned the country, spreading rapidly through telegraph wires and newspaper headlines. People everywhere were gripped by shock and disbelief, as the story of John Brown's bold attack at Harpers Ferry became the talk of every town and city. In the North, many condemned Brown's violence, fearing it would push the nation towards civil war. Yet, some abolitionists quietly admired his courage, even as they worried about the consequences. The raid forced difficult conversations in parlors, churches, and public squares about the future of slavery and the fate of the Union. In the South, panic and outrage erupted. Slaveholders saw Brown as a terrorist bent on destruction. Rumors of more uprisings swept through plantations and towns, fueling fear and calls for harsher laws to protect the Southern way of life. Brown was quickly captured and brought to trial for treason, murder, and inciting insurrection. The nation watched as the proceedings unfolded, with newspapers reporting every detail. Lying wounded in court, He defended his actions as obedience to a higher law, insisting he fought not for personal gain, but for the freedom of the enslaved. His words echoed through the courtroom, challenging the conscience of the nation. He was found guilty and sentenced to hang, his fate sealed by a justice system determined to make an example of him. On December 2nd, 1859, Brown was executed before a crowd, leaving behind a final note: "The crimes of this guilty land will never be purged away, but with blood." His words would haunt the nation for years to come. His death deepened the divide, making him a martyr to some and a villain to others. The legacy of John Brown's actions would echo across America, pushing the country ever closer to the brink of civil war. Was John Brown a hero or a madman? To many in the North and among African Americans, he was a martyr for freedom, willing to die for justice. Others saw him as a reckless fanatic whose violence brought tragedy and war. His raid on Harpers Ferry became a turning point, pushing the nation closer to civil war. The song "John Brown's Body" turned him into a symbol for Union soldiers. Brown's story forces us to ask, when is violence justified for a just cause? Was he a visionary or a zealot? The answer is still debated. What do you think?